On the rain-swept evening of March 1st, 1932, the wind howling through the Hopewell, New Jersey estate masked the sound of a shattering reality. Inside the nursery of the world's most famous aviator, Charles Lindbergh, a crib sat empty. The blankets remained undisturbed, still retaining the warmth of a 20-month-old child. A smear of yellow clay stained the floorboards beneath the window. Resting on the radiator was a plain white envelope. This was not merely a crime scene, it was the epicenter of an event that would immediately be branded the crime of the century. The silence in that room signaled the beginning of a desperate, unprecedented manhunt that would forever alter the trajectory of criminal investigation. Outside in the mud, investigators discovered the physical mechanics of the intrusion. A crude, homemade wooden ladder lay abandoned in the brush, its rungs snapped, bearing the weight of a hasty, panicked retreat. Nearby, two distinct sets of footprints and deep tire tracks scarred the soft earth. The local police, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the victim's identity, descended upon the estate. The initial response was chaotic, a frantic search that trampled the grounds and irrevocably compromised the immediate perimeter. The shock to the nation was absolute. If the child of Charles Lindbergh, an international hero and a symbol of American triumph, could be snatched from his bed, no family felt secure. The public demand for swift justice exerted an agonizing pressure on law enforcement agencies operating with what we now consider primitive techniques. The investigative apparatus of the era was ill-equipped for a multi-jurisdictional mystery of this scale. There was no centralized federal database, no DNA profiling, and no instantaneous communication network to coordinate the hunt for the missing toddler. The early hours of the investigation were plagued by a critical failure to maintain a strict chain of custody, the chronological documentation showing the seizure, custody, control, transfer, analysis, and disposition of physical evidence. Troopers handled the ransom note without gloves, reporters swarmed the estate, and the tire tracks were walked over before plaster casts could be poured. Despite these catastrophic procedural errors, the sheer volume of physical material left behind forced investigators to rely on emerging, unproven scientific methods. The ladder, the note, and the mud were all they had. The envelope left on the radiator contained the first of what would become a series of ransom demands. The text demanded $50,000 for the child's return. The handwriting was erratic, characterized by peculiar misspellings and transposed letters, such as writing the word signature with an extra letter N, suggesting a writer whose primary language was not English. At the bottom of